He was like, you ban Electro Wizard, I'll easily be able to just steamroll you to the final. And that's what he did. And let's get into game number one.
We got Princess coming down the other side. Mini P.E.K.K.A comes down. We'll see what sort of deck this is, but because Mini P.E.K.K.A is making his first appearance in the arena today, it's going to be something we haven't seen before. It looks like a Mini P.E.K.K.A Hog Rider cycle deck. Now the goal of this deck is it's faster than the other Hog Rider decks we've seen today. He's not going to be relying on big stuff necessarily like Mega Knight and like P.E.K.K.A to guard for the Hog Rider. Instead, there's just a constant rotation of Hog Rider threatening, Mini P.E.K.K.A scary. If Mini P.E.K.K.A gets anywhere close to your tower, you have to stop it because just one swing takes away about a third of your tower's health.
Yeah, and bringing you back in time, this was actually the deck used to get the first ever 20-win challenge from Azilius. This is the deck that he used, Quick Cycle Hog with Mini P.E.K.K.A, and this Hog Rider for BERIN gets off two swings. Inferno Dragon, not really the greatest answer, and BERIN has a lot of answers, you know, that are really cheap to deal with it.
This is a new deck out of wins. We haven't seen it yet from him this tournament. I'm wondering what those last two cards are. I expect one of them to be a big tank, but I could be wrong. He might just use Miner, you know, defend with the Inferno Dragon, Night Witch, etc. on defense, and you throw the Miner to tank the tower. But I suspect that one of those last two cards is a Giant or a Golem.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, that Miner and the minions got so much damage on the right-hand side. The Princess wasn't down fast enough. Hog Rider on the left-hand side for BERIN right now. He has an answer. The Night Witch, Log. Oh, still gets off a smack with the hammer.
And that's 6 elixir, 4 for the Night Witch, 2 for the Log, and you still take an attack. And meanwhile, on the counterattack, Night Witch maybe not doing anything because the Ice Golem holding it up. Overall, I feel like BERIN got the better end of that exchange. He spent same amount of elixir, got damage, and Wins didn't get any on the counterattack.
None at all. Here comes a Golem, like you said, on the right-hand side. But there's Bats. There's a Mini P.E.K.K.A. There's a Princess as well. The poison comes down. Hog Rider on the offense for BERIN. That's going to take a left-hand side tower. You can't even really defend that. But he does. This Golem doesn't connect to the tower.
Whoa, great Log. That Log was insane. It hit the Ice Spirit and the Princess. The Ice Spirit meant to take out the minions, and now the minions lock onto the tower for a little bit more. Princess has to come out to defend, but it might be too little too late as Poison plus the Miner take down BERIN's right tower. BERIN has 30 seconds to do 591 over on the left, and he's got the tools to do it. Hog Rider's closing in. Ice Spirit resets the Inferno Dragon, allowing a second Hog swing. 63 health left. Just one more Log or a Princess shot will take down that tower and push us into overtime.
Yes, no big deal there. Can the Night Witch kill this Mini P.E.K.K.A? Oh, Mini P.E.K.K.A is still alive. There's an Inferno Dragon that's really, really healthy, still on the field. Just gets down the Ice Golem in time to clear it out. And we're going into overtime.
Great foresight by BERIN. He was able to keep his tower relatively healthy. 1850 is significantly less than 2534, but in terms of a defensive player, you have over 1,000 health to deal with, to kind of play with. You can let something hit your tower in order to save elixir if you need to. Hog Rider comes in on the right side and is about to even up the score. Downside, we're in double elixir time, and in double elixir time, it tends to favor the bigger, heavier deck, and there ain't nothing bigger and heavier than Golem.
That's true. 8 elixir and one of the beefiest, actually the beefiest unit in the game, and then it even splits into Golemites to add insult to injury there. Miner getting off a lot of damage on the tower, the poison coming in, and the Mini P.E.K.K.A, which is gonna just go on the counterattack to a King Tower. You don't wanna have to deal with that. Ice Golem and Hog Rider on the right-hand side. Night Witch gonna try to be played on defense. Hog Rider getting off a couple of shots.
Incredible offense by BERIN there. The Ice Spirit was timed perfectly to jump on the Night Witch just as she spawned her bats. Both bats went down, and that reduced Night Witch to a pretty ineffective defender. Golem comes down in the middle, though, drawing the ire of both towers. It's moving in towards the middle. He did a prediction log that hit nothing, so I'm not sure what the prediction was gonna go for, right? But now Miner's locked on, trying to keep that Golem away from the tower because it's so low, you can't afford to take these hits.
Oh, the Mega Minion swipes down the tower so...
Right now, BERIN is in red along the top, Wins in blue along the bottom. We'll have to see what decks they bring to this. We are in the middle of the quarterfinals right now in the first ever Clash Royale World Championship. Goblin Barrel's coming down, Goblins go to meet them. Hog Rider's coming in and the gang is jumping on them. One swing and down. And now we have 2 Spear Goblins on the counterattack, looking to throw their spears and try to tie up this damage here on the left side, do a couple hundred damage to BERIN's tower to make it even.
Yeah, Princess getting off another swing on the tower, or should I say, bow shot, from the arrows from the sky.
The flaming arrow attack, and there's Ice Spirit. It freezes the Inferno Dragon, which is the same as a stun, so it's gonna reset the Inferno Dragon back down to low mount, and here comes a big defensive Mega Knight.
And that's just gonna clobber that Knight, but...
Will he turn around? He does! Oh! Now, this actually kind of, well, actually, I don't know if that works out for BERIN because now the bats are going to fly ahead and you'd really prefer them to be behind the Mega Knight helping support. Wins is leaking a lot of Elixir right now. It seems like an interesting choice. He uses Goblin Gang to pull the Mega Knight and the Hog Rider onto the King Tower. An incredible play there because now, not only does he protect his main tower, but he has 3 defensive towers going. And even though your King Tower takes a ton of damage, you're not really going to get 3 crown from spells or future Hog Riders. Now, with the King Tower activated, any future Hog Riders can just be tornadoed into the center of the front yard there. All 3 towers will kill it and then you'll take no damage.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of it. It doesn't matter how far your king goes down, as long as it's got about 1,000 life, that's all it really needs, because you're not going to be able to cell cycle it out. Inferno Dragon locks onto the tower, but gets taken out, just not enough life to survive.
So Wins is playing a Spellbait deck that we actually saw him played in the last round. The only other deck he played besides that P.E.K.K.A. Graveyard deck that we saw. Seemed very impressive with it earlier on, and we'll see if he can deliver him to victory against BERIN. He has a little bit of an Elixir advantage. You can see that he's keeping the pressure up. The Elixir bars are both low on each side, but Wins seems to have a little bit more Elixir, and he's troops on the board with every exchange, which is just adding up over time.
Oh no, this tornado is going to make this Hog cry face. That's not going to get any damage. And 896, because that Goblin Barrel, he's just out cycling. And when you play versus a bait deck and you don't have the log, you play versus log bait without a log, it's going to do damage every time.
That was the most insane Ice Spirit. It landed on the tower just as the Mega Knight came down, freezing the tower and the Mega Knight, giving those goblins just a few attacks. And when you're down to 377, that's all the difference. BERIN is saying good game, but he's kind of a sarcastic, saucy player, so he might not necessarily mean it, but it is going to be a pretty devastating situation. He's got to turn this around in the next 15 seconds. There is a Rocket in Wins deck. That's the last card in there. So once we get down to under 10 seconds or overtime, expect to see that Rocket come out.
Yeah, BERIN's got to throw every single thing in the entire world on the field, but with 1 second left, the Rocket in the air, Wings is gonna fly that rocket. It's a windy travel, but it takes down the tower, and he is going to be victorious.
A stunning